So once that's done, the first thing that you're going to see really is going to be this dashboard. There's a basic dashboard out there, but you really want to customize this for yourself. So I'll go over some of the things that are on there traditionally and what they mean and how you can really leverage them a little bit differently to get the most out of the data. As I said earlier, a lot of people still just look at traffic. And that's great to get a lot of traffic to your website, to your different web properties, but that doesn't necessarily mean people are doing anything with it. So a few ways that you can analyze this a little bit differently is by segmenting. So something I mentioned earlier in the goals is identifying what some of those segments are. But before I get into that, I'm just going to go brief overview on some of the high-level things that might be more important for you to look at. One of the things you might hear a lot about, are you familiar with bounce rate? Yeah. Okay, so for the people that aren't familiar with that, the bounce rate is going to be how many times people come in and leave without going to a second page. And you certainly want that number a little bit lower, but again, in today's world, you don't always have a second page, right? Or maybe someone went to your website, they purchased right away, or they signed up right away. So it's a little bit less tangible as it used to be. Traditionally, they say 40% is a good bounce rate to go for. This is an example from an old client page, and something just to kind of give you some insight into what you might be looking for is, well, why are people bouncing? This is for a website that has several pages. So she wanted to reduce that. The first thing that jumped out at me in looking at this was you've got a bounce rate of 60% and your page load time is 5.75 seconds. Not good, right? So these are some of the things that will give you insight into why people might be leaving. Maybe it's not your content. Maybe it's that they don't want to sit there and wait. Unfortunately, average load times are still around 10 seconds, but people don't want to wait any more than about 1.75 or 2. So you really want to get that down. So if you have a very content-rich website and the load times are slow, talk to your designer, your web developer. And if it just is going to be slow because of how rich it is, then maybe you can put a feature in front of it that keeps people engaged while things are coming up to presentation. So those are some of the things you want to take a look at with respect to your website. Some other things that you can see are also down here, you've got visits and page views by mobile. Mobile is very important. A lot of people are still having trouble with their websites rendering on iPads and other tablet devices, and these are things that you want to take a look at with your web developer as well. You want to look at how frequently are people visiting your page on mobile devices, and maybe they're bouncing because they can't see anything. So you want to pull all of that stuff together so that you have everything available for people who find you on social media, traffic to your website, and you keep them there, whether it's a mobile or whatever browser it might be on. You can see all of that information at the basics with Google Analytics. So high-level stuff, but if you're not looking at that stuff yet and you're not capturing a lot of people on your website, that's definitely something for you to look at.